Welcome everyone to a fascinating look into the history of the Catholic Church. Over many centuries, the Church has seen powerful leaders and humble saints. Today we'll explore the lives of some interesting popes who were married. We'll see how they balanced family life with their duties as religious leaders in times very different from our own. Our story begins way back in the 1st century in a small fishing town by the Sea of Galilee. This serene and picturesque place was home to many fishermen who made their living from the abundant waters. Among them was a man named Simon, who would later become one of the most significant figures in Christian history. Simon was a humble fisherman, living a simple life until one fateful day when he met Jesus. Jesus was a powerful teacher who spoke about love, forgiveness, and the kingdom of God. His words resonated deeply with Simon and many others who heard him speak by the sea. Jesus saw something special in Simon. He saw potential and a heart ready to serve. Jesus changed Simon's life forever by giving him a new name, Peter, which means rock. This name symbolized the strong foundation Peter would provide for the early Christian community. Jesus chose Peter to lead the early Christians in Rome, a role that came with great responsibility and peril. Leading the early Christians was a dangerous job back then. The Roman Empire was not friendly to this new faith, and Christians often faced severe persecution. They had to meet in secret, sometimes in the catacombs beneath the city, to avoid detection and punishment. Interestingly, Peter, this important figure in the early church, was married. This fact is often overlooked, but it adds a fascinating dimension to his story. Peter's family life would have provided him with a unique perspective and strength as he led the early Christians. The Bible even mentions his mother-in-law, which tells us he had a wife. This small detail gives us a glimpse into Peter's personal life and the support system he had at home. It also shows that the early church was more inclusive and diverse than we might think. We don't know much about Peter's wife, but her existence is a testament to the fact that married men could be church leaders in those early days. Peter's story is a powerful reminder of the human side of these early saints and the personal sacrifices they made for their faith. His journey from a simple fisherman to the first pope is a story of transformation, dedication, and unwavering faith. Now let's travel to the 6th century, a time of big changes and arguments about religion. We meet Pope St. Hormisdas, who came from a small town in Italy called Frosinone. Before becoming a priest, Hormisdas was married and had a son named Silverius, who also became pope later on. Hormisdas' time as pope was full of disagreements with the Byzantine Empire, but he was a strong leader for his people. His story shows how the Church's ideas about marriage and priests were changing over time. Chapter 3. Now we're in 9th century Rome, a city that wasn't as powerful as it once was. Here we meet Pope Adrian II, who came from a wealthy Roman family. Before becoming a priest, Adrian was married and had a daughter. They lived in Rome even after he became pope. Sadly, his wife and daughter were killed after his death, which shows how dangerous those times were. Adrian's story shows the complicated relationship between the popes and the important families of Rome. Sometimes they worked together, and sometimes they fought. Chapter 4. Let's move to 13th century France, a country known for its knights, grand churches, and the fervor of the Crusades. This was a time of great change and turmoil, where the church held immense power and influence over the lives of the people. In this vibrant and complex era, we meet Pope Clement IV, a man whose journey took him from the halls of law to the highest seat in the Catholic Church. Born into a noble family, Clement, whose real name was Guy Foulquois, started his career as a lawyer. His sharp mind and keen sense of justice quickly earned him a reputation. He married and settled into family life, a path not uncommon for men of his status at the time. Together with his wife, he had 2 daughters. However, his life took a dramatic turn when his wife passed away. This personal tragedy led him to a profound transformation. He decided to dedicate his life to the church, becoming a priest. His rise within the church was swift. His leadership qualities and dedication did not go unnoticed, and he quickly became an important figure in the ecclesiastical hierarchy. As pope, he was deeply involved in the complex and often treacherous politics of his time. His tenure was marked by significant events and challenges, reflecting the turbulent nature of the period. Pope Clement IV's story is a fascinating example of the diverse paths individuals took to reach the papacy. His life encompassed both the secular and the sacred, showing that the journey to spiritual leadership could be as varied as the individuals themselves. From family man to religious leader, his legacy is a testament to the multifaceted nature of human experience. Chapter 5. Back to Rome again, this time in the 13th century. The Eternal City, with its ancient ruins and bustling streets, was a center of power and intrigue. It was here that we meet one of the most intriguing figures of the medieval papacy. We meet Pope Honorius IV, who came from the powerful Savelli family. The Savellis were one of the prominent families in Rome, known for their influence and wealth. Honorius IV, born Giacomo Savelli, was deeply embedded in the political and social fabric of the city. Before becoming a priest, he was married and had several children. This was not uncommon in those times, as many clergy members had families before taking holy orders. His experience as a family man gave him a unique perspective on the needs and challenges of his flock. His family helped him become an important figure in the church, but he was also a smart and religious man. Honorius IV was well educated and known for his intellect. He studied at the University of Paris, one of the most prestigious institutions of the time, where he gained a reputation for his scholarly abilities. His time as Pope was short, but he worked for peace in Europe and supported the Crusades. Despite his brief papacy, he made significant efforts to mediate conflicts and promote stability. He was particularly focused on the situation in the Holy Land, providing support for the Crusaders and seeking to strengthen Christian presence there. Honorius's story reminds us that being Pope wasn't just a religious job, it was also a political one, connected to the complicated politics of medieval Europe. The Pope had to navigate alliances, rivalries, and the ever-shifting landscape of European power. Honorius IV's legacy is a testament to the intricate balance of faith and politics that defined the medieval papacy. Thank you for joining me on this fascinating historical journey. We've learned about 5 popes who were married and had families before becoming religious leaders. Their stories give us a look into a time when the Church's ideas about marriage and priests were still evolving and changing. Join us next time for more interesting and captivating stories about the Catholic Church.